Alright my friends, my name is Jack Billings and I'm the CEO and founder of SHEEPSFOOT, and today I'm going to be comparing the SHEEPSFOOT TUATARA and the SHEEPSFOOT SHEEPSFOOT. Both of these are fantastic fixed blades, 100% made in the USA, and I figured since these two are so similar, let me show off both the similarities and the differences. I don't believe I've done it this far, at least into this much detail, so I'm excited to do that for the first time today. And yeah, so anyways, let's get into the video. First things first, these blades are 100% USA made. They both come in the black Kydex sheaths. We have the Coyote Tan G10 as well. Some people think that the scales, the G10 here, some people think it's micarta simply because of how the texture is, but actually this is a G10 set of scales. Let me show off some of the G10 colors I have available for these models. Midnight Black G10, OD Green G10, Coyote Tan, which this is what it's featured in, Coyote Tan G10. We have Tiffany Blue, fantastic color. The Day Glow G10, this is a very bright color. The camera does not do it justice, but Day Glow. And then finally, Skewer Orange, another bright color as well. So fantastic colors. We'll set those back to the side and continue here. So this is, let's actually open up the SHEEPSFOOT as well. Both of these are 154 cm blades, 154 cm steel, and this is just a little bit of lubrication on here to keep the knife from both corroding, even though it is a stainless steel, and also to keep it from really getting stuck in the sheath. That's a trick you guys can use at home. Put a little lubricant on your knives and it'll slip in and out of the Kydex sheath even better. But let's continue the comparison. So first things first, let's start with the tip of these knives. The SHEEPSFOOT is definitely a little bit more chunkier, you could say, in the front part. And that's really because this blade is designed for chopping and prying and just tougher tasks, so this can really take the beating. Now, the TUATARA certainly can take the beating as well. This knife was designed to be a true field knife, where this was meant for some of your tougher prying tasks. Maybe you're stabbing, maybe you're forcing something open. Then the SHEEPSFOOT is a little more strong, or stronger for that. Let's take a look at the tip. Maybe you guys can see that. But anyways, we have that where this is a bit more dragged out, which sure, it's going to be a little bit weaker than the SHEEPSFOOT in the tip part of the knife, but that doesn't mean it is a weak part at all. Now, if you're going for prying, again, SHEEPSFOOT is it for you. Moving down to the blade part, these are both hollow grinds. Now, why hollow grinds on a fixed blade when most companies do flat grinds? Well, the thing is, when you have a blade that is almost a 1/4 inch thick, you need it to be sharp, and a flat grind is going to give it some sharpness. Of course, you can make a very sharp knife with a flat grind at this thickness, but I figured the hollow grind is going to make it a little bit sharper. It also fit my machine setup, so I didn't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars to adjust my entire setup to fit a flat grind when they're very similar in really function. Because when you have a knife this thick, it doesn't really matter what grind you put on here, it's going to take it. So both of these have the hollow grinds, and flipping it over, they are both stamped SK23. Maybe you guys can see that right here. So SK23 for shedknives 2023. And just a side note, the TUATARA is the only available model right now of these two. The SHEEPSFOOT is sold out and will be coming back for the 2024 models. In the meantime, the TUATARA is available. So head to shedknives.com to check it out. You can also read up on both of these knives on the SHEDknives blog on shedknives.com as well. But let's keep moving down. Also, let's look at how wide these knives are. Okay, the TUATARA is a little bit wider. And what I did, I just kind of scaled up the sheep's foot a little bit. So the sheep's foot is slightly thinner on the width instead of the wider TUATARA. So I made this a little bit, actually, excuse me, I made the TUATARA a little bit wider than the sheep's foot because I wanted a slightly larger camp knife, and boom, there we go. But the sheep's foot has been, this is something not a lot of people know, to be honest. The sheep's foot has been the longest running model for shed knives since its release in 2018. Now, yes, this has changed over the years, but that does not mean that the general function and the general purpose that this knife was designed for has changed, because it certainly has not. It's only gotten better, and the TUATARA originally came out in 2022, so the 2024 model will be the third version of the TUATARA, and the sheep's foot, we are going on, what, 7 versions? 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 7 versions, and wow, so 2024 sheep's foot is going to be fantastic, and yeah, amazing. Let's continue working down this knife as well. Now, I believe I already said it, but 154 cm steel, stainless steel. We have the G10 scales as well. I know I said that about the scales, but the scales are very thick as well. When I get this material, it is a 1/4 inch thick, and that's on both sides, and the steel is almost a 1/4 inch thick as well. It's 0.227 inches thick, so this is a very, very chunky knife, a very beefy knife. So this, my goodness, is just tough. It's tough. We have the jimping as well. We have the jimping, maybe you guys can see that as well. We have the jimping on top, and then the sharpening choil down here. The sharpening choil just makes it a little bit easier to keep a sharp edge, where I notice sometimes that down here by the sharpening choil on knives that do not have one, they tend to be like kind of sharp, kind of dull, and it's just a little bit confusing. So there's that. And then as you can see, both of them have the 3 screws, and so 3 Phillips heads and 3 flathead bolts as well. So fantastic. These are interchangeable with the screws that come on the sheath. Now, yes, there are no screws yet on the sheath. They are going to mount the clip. Here's the clip, and these come with all shed knives models, and it comes assembled as well. Now, certainly you can adjust it to whatever different grommet setup you want, and that's why I make the clip look like this, so you don't need to worry about, oh, are the grommet holes or the eyelets, are they spaced apart enough, or are they too close together? It doesn't matter, because you have this whole railing system right here to mount it however you want. You can also take this clip off and mount it to another knife, or you can mount another universal clip to the sheath. So fantastic. Let's continue on here. I'm going to work down to the actual style. This handle feature right here, this handle pattern, you could say. I designed this because I wanted a nice, secure locking style for your hand. I wanted the pointer finger to take a very secure spot on this knife, so you don't risk bringing your hand onto the blade, which it does happen on knives that do not have this stop right here, this, I guess, guard built in to the handle. People's hands do slide onto the blade. Now, that really does not happen if you have a good grip. That, of course, won't happen with the TUATARA or the sheep's foot, but that's the general concept. I wanted something that keeps your hand from sliding onto the blade and gives you a nice secure grip. Also down here, wanted a little bit of geometry, we could say, for the rest of your fingers to lock on, and not something super straight where, again, you risk sliding up the knife. So this is a very firm, controlled grip, very controlled system. And then let's move on to the back here. These are technically partial scales. Partial scales basically do not take up the entire knife. Now check this out. This basically fills up my entire hand, plus some. And also, I've had people with larger hands who said that their finger at the back, it's still very comfortable. So just know, a lot of people have said it's comfortable. We have a 1/2-inch lanyard hole in the back. I designed this on both knives simply because sometimes you need to connect stuff with larger rope, or maybe a D-ring or something of that nature. So that's why I went with a 1/2-inch lanyard hole. We also have this pretty tough pommel, so I call this my knocking sense into someone feature, because using a blade in a self-defense situation may not always be the best thing to do. Well, when you have this back end right here, that can do it. You can also break glass. You can do all sorts of stuff. This is a really cool feature. And again, same thing on the sheep's foot as well. They both have that style. So fantastic. And it's kind of sweeping down. It sweeps down, so it's not really poking into your hand, where I put the, sharper part of the knife down away from the palm. And you don't want any hot spots on a knife, and both of these blades have very contoured features of the scales and the handle, so that way it limits, if not eliminates, any hot spots on the knife. So fantastic. Like I said, jimping and sharpening choil, but they are both featured on both knives. So that kind of finishes that up. 100% USA materials as well, 100% USA production. I know I touched on that a little bit, but let's take a look at the sheath. So the sheath has a wider mouth, a wider opening, and the reason for that is so you have a better chance of getting your knife in, because when you have a 1/4-inch opening versus a 1-inch opening, that is a pretty big difference. So the more we can get, the better, and it just keeps you from stabbing into your side pretty much with this larger opening. It also provides a more secure mounting location to the handle, and same thing with the sheep's foot, more secure mounting to the handle. Just clicks right in there, very nice. When you order on shedknives.com, please note when you get your knife there may be a little bit of black Kydex marks right here, and that's simply because the knife needs to lock into the Kydex, and if you don't have that, it's okay, but it just means that if you have it, you just have a really tight lock, and over time it will wear off, but just keep that in mind, because I've had a few questions about it. So just figured I would clarify that. But I believe that brings me to the end of the video, my friends. Again, 2023 Shed Knives Sheepsfoot and the 2023 Shed Knives TUATARA, both in fantastic 154 cm steel G10 scales. Two colors featured in this video are Coyote Tan and Coyote Tan, with both black Kydex sheaths. Again, come with the clip as well, so don't worry about having to go find your own clip somewhere. But yeah, I believe this brings me to the end of the video. If you want to go check these out, I have a few left of the TUATARA on shedknives.com. The sheep's foot is sold out, but we'll be back for the 2024 models. So anyways, hit the subscribe if you like knife videos. My name is Jack, I make knives, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.